A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Yedel Kabiro. It is such a pleasure to have you joining us once again for our political conversation. Everyone is talking about confusion galore in President William Ruto's administration. Different statements, left, right, and center. Catholic bishops come up and give their statement about what is happening in the country. But people don't seem to get what government is simply doing. I'm here with Prof. Manyora. We're going to talk about that. Prof, look, we're talking about confusion in Kenya Kwanza's administration. You look at Isaac Mwaura on this side, you look at members of parliament on this side. What structure should be put in place by government when it comes to talking to Kenyans about what they are doing and the backlash they are receiving?
Kenyans have designed a structure for themselves. It's in the constitution. Just follow the constitution. Then do your work. What else? Once you are doing if you do your work speaks for itself. So that the work of a government spokesman is just to explain a few things that may not have been understood well and share information with people. Yeah, that's all. And get government to understand what people are saying on the ground.
You know, there is doing your work and there is also the part of bravado and self-importance in government. You listen to C.S. Duale who says poor people are not disposing garbage.
They're eating it.
He didn't say they're eating it, but they don't have garbage.
No, he said they eat everything.
They eat everything.
Yeah, he said they eat everything.
But then, what do you make of this statement?
That is impunity. It is impunity. It works like that. You give a small man some power, and he doesn't have the capacity for power. And I'm sorry to say this. It's not easy to handle power and success, and I've said repeatedly. Yeah. These people you see are overwhelmed by power and success, if you wish to call it success. Yeah. So power is not very easy to handle. People are drunk with power. Impunity is reigning supreme. Impunity, Kenyans, I want to tell you, Jad, please share this with Kenyans. Impunity is not just a word. Impunity is a process of turning somebody into something. These things you call power what? Power, breakfast what? This Kenyan, what is Prayer breakfast, annual. They invited a guest, a former minister, a former cabinet secretary from the UK. He was the chief guest in one of those useless prayer sessions. Yeah. Prayer breakfast things. This man had been a minister, but he had been jailed. He went to jail, was imprisoned. But at the time of coming to speak to them, he was a born-again Christian. So he was sharing his own life history, and it's about impunity. You are given an office, you do something, nobody questions. Then you do another one, nobody questions. Then you begin going up. You begin feeling you are everything. And at that point, anybody who questions you, step on his head. You get to a point you think you are a god. He put it so clearly. I don't know whether they were listening. Yeah. I strayed into, and I listen. Sometimes you can stray into something. Yeah. I'm unlikely to be found following such a thing, but I don't know how I strayed there. Yeah. And I listened to him carefully. So it gets to a point where you think you are a god. That's what is called impunity. So people like this Duale and the rest of these people you are seeing around, they get to a point where they think they are God. They are so important. Anybody else is nothing. That's how come a man you are taking uji na mandazi. And you've done that not once. Yeah. We have worked with people at the university, and you know we are not paid well. Tunakula lunch ya shilingi 200. Tunashindwa hata kula ile ya club ya 600 zamani. Tuna cross barabara. There are places where my friend John calls smoky places. Smoke meets you in the doors, but they have very fresh food. Munakula na mtu hapa. Then he's made a minister or as a PS. Hata simu yako haichukua. It is impunity. You get to a point where you think you are a god.
And this is what is happening in Kenya Kwanza's administration. You listen to David Lee who comes and says these mass layoffs are only affecting the privileged. This is the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
Yes.
And then
look at them, even what they look like. Just look at them.
We don't have to.
It is sad, I'm telling you. You get money, and it makes you think you are not just special, you are actually a god. Because a man who had never seen $1,000,000 shillings, akichungulia kwa account anaona iko 1.8 billion, how can he be normal?
Can't.
He can't be normal because it is a question of capacity. Very few people have the capacity to handle success. That's why, how come even in the Bible, where you read the book, they had it in the Quran and what have you, and traditional societies, until even when I was growing up recently, how come only a few people, only a few homes had granaries or barns? Things fall apart, Chinua Chebe, Okongo struggling to be like those few who could feed the family, have enough stock. How come it's only a few people who are always successful in society? It is because not many people can handle success. So we made a world where now, through stealing and thievery and looting of public coffers, just about anybody can hold billions. Then we opened the ladder to success. And we appoint just about anybody to become anything. So you can see the confusion you're talking about.
I want to get this reaction from you. What do all these companies have in common? David D asks. They all serve a small elite market. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If your customer base is suburban lifestyle, private security, home improvement, upmarket, FMCG, things will get worse before they get better. We've been talking about David D for a very long time when it comes to how he speaks to public. But your reaction to why these companies are closing?
But it's not true that all companies that have closed are upmarket. It's not true. Very common people have closed. Kiosks have closed. What does David Lee have to say about matatus which have been auctioned? Those are also elitist. What has David Lee to say about hotels where we used to eat in town, which have either closed or they are as empty as you can get? There were places where you had to go at 11 to get a meal. And even then, you should be careful, like I've said, somebody can put food in your mouth because you are so close here in the space. Today, you go there and you can sleep on the chairs. What has David Lee to say about those? How many ordinary companies producing ordinary goods for ordinary people, employing ordinary Kenyans, have closed down? What is David Lee telling? Even the ones he's talking about, they may be guarding the poor, but the rich, but it's not the rich guarding themselves. That man whose company has now closed was paying fees for his children. Never mind that he was guarding the rich, as David Lee will tell us.
Even the security guards.
But he was paying fees with the money he was being paid to guard the rich. He was feeding his parents in Luombe, the village. I'm telling you, these people don't understand.
Is it the people?
They have a problem.
It's Ruto Arab Kiro, former minister, who sits here and says this is actually the mentality of the president. If you have people in your office, if you have people in your government speaking like this, you probably think this way too. Could this be the case that it's rotten at the top?
I know people say the fish begins to rot from the top. I don't want to talk about the president. I'm fairly respectful. But when you have people surrounding you talking like David Lee is talking, and you don't sack them, then there's something wrong somewhere. Because he's rubbing salt into the injury. Yeah? Kenyans are suffering, and you have a chief advisor or whatever he's called. If they are saying like that, he's spitting in the face of Kenyans and buttoning his shirt and showing his stomach to the Kenyans and vomiting all over on their feet. Why wouldn't you sack him? What David Ndia is doing, I can do when I'm taking breakfast.
You know, you speak of stomachs, and I'm thinking of Isaac Manyora too.
Yeah.
Who says people were saying now they have big stomachs.
You see,
and the
they're insensitive. They are insensitive. And this is how, I do not understand how people, I don't know, even the basic lessons from history. The famous quote from Marie Antoinette during the French Revolution, the Queen. When she looked through the window or whatever she was and people were shouting in the streets, maandamano yuko, haki yetu. She asked, what is the problem? People are saying there's no bread. What did she say?
Cake.
Let them to eat cake. I know people do not understand the French culture in terms of bread. Bread is like ugali. So you can't tell somebody, kama hakuna ugali, enda nunua mkate. You know, it can't serve the same purpose. But besides that, the point is made. That's just how blind the leadership of France was at that time. At that critical time, when the whole country is crying, the revolution is coming, people are about to get beheaded. But there is a queen speaking in the manner in which Marie Antoinette was speaking. That is exactly what this guy is saying. Ati watu wamekula mpaka
tumbo zimekuwa kubwa. We have big stomachs now.
Sababu unga imekuwa bei rahisi.
89.
Na anajua wakulima wanatoa machozi. Na huenda wasikalime tena mwaka ujao. Kama mkulima anauza mahindi shilingi 2,500, anaweza kulima namna gani mwaka ujao? Huyo Isaac Mwaura atakuwa hapa akituelezea. Meli zinakuja na mahindi, msijali. Zinakuja, ziko. On the high seas. Maize is coming on the high seas. Most of it meant for donkeys and horses in the US and Mexico and elsewhere. Being brought for Kenyans to eat. Because we have frustrated our farmers in order to be happy that we are selling flour at 89 shillings. You must balance the interest of the consumer vis-a-vis the realities and the interest of the farmer. Now, Isaac Mwaura, I thought you went to school. All these titles you have, what are they for?
Is this why we...
These useless degrees people have in this country. You must balance the interest of the consumer in terms of prices and the farmer who must be sustained in business. This common sense Mwaura doesn't understand.
That's why we
or a small job has gone to his head, and you know he's my friend.
Imports and then
I should sit with him, Mwaura, if you are watching, if someone, let's sit and we have a cup of tea. It's long overdue.
So what you're saying...
Then I can advise you how to do that job.
Ships coming with food for Kenyans that are substandard.
Yeah.
We look at mercury,
costly,
aflatoxins, all these come from those ships.
And then they come and flood the market, so that even the little farming that would have gone on is discouraged. We have been through all this, Mwaura. Where were you? You may not be an old man, Mwaura, but you've read, you know this is a circle. We've gone through this. We know it.
So
you frustrate farmers through bad, either you don't buy harvest, you leave them at the mercy of middlemen, poor prices, or they are supplied with bad seed or bad fertilizer. There's no harvest, or there's a bumper harvest, but because there had been no harvest the previous year, you open the doors for imports. The market is flooded. When the farmer's maize is ready, there's too much imported maize in the... What is Mwaura telling Kenyans? It is sad.
I want us to finish with impunity. Maybe you'll tell me about that. But I was listening to Eric Lati from Spice, and he was talking about structure that was there in Uhuru's government, especially during COVID, where everything revolved around Mutahi Kagwe, the CS. You could not hear anything about COVID except from him or the people in those presses that he has invited. Why aren't we seeing this kind of communication with this government? Why are they missing it?
Yeah, Mutahi Kagwe, you can get it.
Yeah.
You can get it.
You can get it.
Yeah. Mutahi Kagwe, not Ngunyi. Mutahi Kagwe.
Yes.
A focal place, one, information comes from there. It is respected, it is serious. But when every Tom, Dick, and Harry, as the whatever goes, is talking about government in critical moments like this, you see, COVID was a critical moment. You needed to give people information, because information then was critical in the fight against the pandemic. And Mutahi Kagwe did it very well. Supposing during that time, it was Mutahi Kagwe, it was Oscar Sud from some corner, it was Manyora from another corner, it was Aaron Cheriot from Kericho. Everybody's pronouncing themselves. In America, you saw it was Fauci.
Yes.
And initially even the president. From some central point. Now, what we are going through now is something close to a pandemic. Kenyans are hurting and suffering. The economy is doing so bad. People are so sensitive now that everything you say as government can injure people more than they are already injured. So when people are suffering, when farmers have maize, they will not take their children to school. And I want to tell you, and by extension Mwaura, I grew up in those areas. after the harvest in November, like now, if you didn't give your budget to your father, if you didn't buy your school uniform for next year, if you didn't buy your Christmas shirt or anything you wanted, you will have to wait for another 1 year. Everything is on maize. Christmas, school fees in January, next plant, everything is in the granary. So the moment something is not working, like now it's not working with that price, everything is dead. No Christmas. They don't know how children will go to school next year. And here you are telling people, wamefura tumbo sababu unga imeenda chini. Without knowing how. So when you have a crisis, communication becomes extremely important. In fact, in communication classes, there's a unit called crisis communication. You know, it is critical how you communicate when there's a pandemic like Corona. And it was Mutai Ngunya and that guy called Amoth. And the lady was called Mwangangi.
Yes.
You see those three. When you see them, you know this government. You know there's something you want to hear. Now we have a crisis. The economy is doing so badly. Kenyans are hurting. There's confusion in the education sector. There's confusion and hurting and pain in the health sector. There must be a government voice that gives information and hope. But when you have just about everybody insulting Kenyans, oh, companies can close, it's for rich people, the elite market, oh, mekula, tumbe, mefura, oh, Catholics, sijui nini, wana ukabila. Crisis communication recognizes the fact that there is a problem, a crisis, and the communication required must be focused, organized, and central in nature. Because it is through that communication that you create hope. Like when there is war. When there is war, communication is so critical. What government tells the people is the difference between life and death. The people must learn that what time, what are the signs? Are they sirens? Is it the time to go under the bunkers? Crisis requires serious communication. And this government must stop running around like headless chicken. You know, if you cut a chicken the head immediately, it will still run around and the head is down. That's what government must stop doing.
The danger in impunity.
Impunity is bad. And you are seeing it. There's evidence. Every little boy in town is flashing billions of shillings, bundles and bundles of money, dressing from the shoes to the watch and the suit and whatever they have. Mtu anavaa milioni 15 kwa mwili. Just kutoka kwa viatu mpaka kwa kama ana bling yake nini na saa amevaa 20 million, 15 million. How can you tell Americans that is possible? How can you tell them that a man has used $50,000 to buy a watch?
Government official.
Yeah, a government official. These are guys who go to an office after a reshuffle or when they are appointed, they remove everything. Everything is changed. The carpet, seats, curtains, everything is new. In a country where people are going to bed hungry, where people are dying from diarrhea, where a frightening number of children by UN records don't see their first birthday. You can't be doing that. Do you still look for impunity? Have you understood what it is?
Yeah.
Share it with Kenyans. Tell Kenyans, if there's anything we can do to break impunity, that we must do. And I want to encourage Gen Zs. Forget about going to the streets. Use your power, the digital space, to break this impunity. Call out these people. Shame them. Endeleeni kutupatia hizo picha za Gucci, mshipi, sijui jacket, na pesa yake mtuonyeshe. Na mtuonyesha huyo alikuwa anakaa hii nyumba ndiyo ilikuwa nyumba yake. 2 years ago. Hapa ndio wako sasa. Follow them to those BNBs. Show us, shame them.
Yeah.
That is the war I want Gen Zs to enter into. They can do any other one. But this one, because we must break impunity.
All right.
Which if we don't, and people continue talking the way David Ndii and Isaac Maura and the rest are talking, this country will collapse.
What a conversation. Thanks for tuning in. This country will collapse. We must fight impunity. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.
Welcome to Herencia, the heartland of good living, where you belong. A community with endless possibilities. Your path to discovering a master-planned gated community that matches your ambitions. Get yourself this must-have piece of paradise with state-of-the-art amenities, constant water supply, good security, tarmac roads, and much more. The best part, availability of buy and build financing services. Don't wait. Contact us today or visit our offices for more info. Buy and build your way at Herencia, the heartland of good living.